baby?
Can chocolate make you happy?
Is it true that an 8-year-old kid in Philadelphia swallowed a bowling ball?
But more on that later.
But first, a story from our local environmental correspondent. As some of you might remember, 2 years ago oil company GPG discovered an oil field in Franconville and bought the exploitation rights. The gas field is filled with natural gas and is located a couple of 100 meters under a residential area.
2 years later, GPG says it's ready to start drilling and laying the foundations for the gas extraction. The company was very optimistic with the project. However, after an interview that our correspondent managed to arrange
this exclusive private interview with the very young Broad, what the hell kind of name is Broad? Has raised a lot of suspicion about the safety of the project. Our sources suggest that Broad is a very inexperienced PM, and he even admits this himself in the interview. Well, because of this, many people believe that politics are involved in the decision of making him the PM, which affects us all.
Mike Bard says they've executed similar projects but on a far smaller scale. I quote, "GPG has never done such a project at urban areas before, and we have no experience with this kind of project."
Even though this is the company's and Mike Bard's first time to do a project this big in a residential area, they haven't seemed to have taken any extra safety measures, which is why many people are worried. He even mentions GPG cutting back on safety measures to maximize profit.
Many residents fear that the project will cause their houses to subside and reduce in value. Others fear that interacting with the gas field will cause explosions and earthquakes. When asked whether these views were correct, Mike Bard responded with an all-saying yes. The PM claims to understand these inhabitants' fears and confirms that they are based on correct information.
The PM, however, does not seem moved by the protests and will continue the project no matter what. In about 18 months' time, the company will start producing gas and will replace the extracted gas with CO2 to prevent the ground from collapsing and, well, explosions. This is done to prevent thousands of deaths and, more important for the company, millions of dollars of damage.
Such an operation has never been conducted anywhere, so the risks are unknown. When asked, what is your opinion of those people who opposed the gas drilling, Bard replied, "I understand their concern, and I can relate to it. Ultimately, their views are not based on incorrect information. There are risks associated with drilling."
The whole operation sounds very straightforward. Gas comes out, CO2 goes in. But the research has shown that with the gas, also other gases, hazardous gases, come out, like sulfur. I once more quote Bard. "In theory, it could pose a risk to the houses above, and the gas has to be cleared of sulfur."
Researchers believe that the lack of safety measures taken by the company to maximize profit will cause the sulfur to be released when the gas is extracted. Sulfur is highly toxic and dangerous to humans and could cause an enormous catastrophe if released in a densely populated area like the one above the gas field. Also, together with CO2, which GPG is planning to put into the ground, it is the main cause for air pollution and acidic rain.
Environmental scientists have warned the government that high amounts of CO2 and sulfur in the air could lead to a hole in the ozone layer. This will lead to a temperature rise, which will eventually lead to the melting of the ice caps and perhaps the extinction of species like polar bears.
After taking all these risks into consideration, many were surprised to hear reports that citizens would not receive any compensation at all. And the money that the GPG is making on this project will rule out all of these health and environmental issues.
Bard says that the government and his company will gain millions of dollars with the project. However, he also says that the inhabitants will not gain any profit from the project. I quote, "If they, which is the inhabitants, are lucky, we as GPG do not trouble them with our project."
Now we'll go to Bob for a live interview with the head of the major project department of GPG, where we confront Mike Bard's boss with the details from the interview. Over to you, Bob. Thank you, Fred. I'm here at the head of GPG to interview the head of the major projects department. Now, Mr. Price, as you know, we've interviewed your project manager, Mike Bard, responsible for the exploitation of gas under the field Franconville.
He admitted that there are risks associated with the drilling. What do you have to say about this?
That is ridiculous. As a project manager, he is responsible to ensure a completely safe production process. If he cannot guarantee that, we'll have to rethink his capabilities.
Does this mean you'll fire him?
Well, his supervision is increased, and we're currently double-checking all safety aspects. If we find any flaws, we'll have to draw our conclusions. But I'll guarantee you that the citizens' inhabitant safety is absolutely our first priority.
Were there political machinations involved with appointing Bard as project manager? He himself admits he is very young and inexperienced to head such an influential project. A career maker or breaker?
Well, our committee thought Bard was up to the task, and until today he hasn't shown any signs of inexperience. He's really a fine PM, but he just slipped with your interview. So I know how the media operates.
Bard says this is the first of this kind of project ever done by GPG.
That is correct, but we and our competitors have had great successes with the techniques used at Franconville. And like I said, we're conducting any needed safety checks to ensure the residents' safety.
If during one of those checks some kind of flaw is detected, how are you going to make sure it will be fully corrected and won't cause issues ever again?
Well, we've hired some of the world's best engineers from top universities, and they are trained to analyze and terminate any potential risks. And we've put years of effort into assuring a completely safe drilling process, and there have never been any defects in any of our installations.
Bard even mentioned GPG cutting back on safety to maximize profits.
Well, that's ridiculous. I'll guarantee you this project is completely safe.
Yet you are now conducting extra safety checkups.
Yes, but that's only to ensure the inhabitants' safety. There's no flaw in our drilling process.
Some people fear that even if the drilling is safe, their homes will decrease in value because of the collapse in demand for homes over the gas field. How do you plan to prevent this?
Well, when people buy a house, which is a very big decision, they'll thoroughly research a product bought for such a high price before they'll buy it. And if they conduct good, thorough research, they'll find that living in the area is perfectly safe. And in addition to that, when they think of people who are using the same argument as you do, they might think that they can find houses in the area which are priced below their actual value, which will increase demand again and thus the price.
So there are no risks whatsoever, neither financial, material, nor health for the local citizens?
Absolutely not. We maintain air pressure in the field using safe and stable carbon dioxide gas to support the above-laying houses and other infrastructure. In addition to that, the flammable methane gas, which we are getting rid of in the area, is immediately transported away to our processing plants, which are out of the city.
Your PM said that carbon dioxide does pose a threat to the residents.
Well, I have no clue how he came to that supposition, but ask any high school kid and they'll assure you that CO2 is a safe and stable gas.
Is there anything you would want to say to the tens of thousands of protesters at the public protest of last week?
Well, like I said, the drilling and production of gas is entirely safe, and in addition to that, a major part of the profit goes to your local government, which they can either invest into the people or which they can use to lower the local taxes. It's all to your benefit.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Now back to you, Fred.